Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. I hope you enjoy. Story number 1. The Ones Who Deserve Animals, written by I Am the Hype TFS. Humans were impressive in many ways, many of them terrifying, and perhaps nothing fit into both categories as well as their ability to back bond with just about anything. Yet despite the myriad of stories and testimonies and recorded events of the incredible ability at work, the galaxy had not yet seen the true strength of this trait, nor had they seen the true depths of the pain that it could cause a human. Not until a very specific subset of human entered the intergalactic workforce, the veterinarians. Those who thought humans were stronger than before had all of their previous preconceptions completely shattered when they heard of these new stories. Perhaps they weren't the most intimidating or physically imposing, but they had the strongest spirits of any human in the various races had ever encountered. They could understand fighting spirit, their refusal to give up in the face of adversity or challenge. But these vets took the concept to a completely different level. Firstly, their ability to almost seamlessly adapt to meeting creatures they had little knowledge of prior to seeing them in person. Their minds like sponges, soaking up a flood of information on how to treat animals with anatomies they had no experience with. Not to mention how useful their pack bonding trait was to somehow form tentative connections within hours or even minutes of interacting with them. In the cases of creatures that experienced alien doctors had to work gingerly around or even sedate in order to properly care for them, about half the time a human would be given permission by the animal to do what was needed without too much hassle, because a bond had been formed despite them not doing anything notably different from their alien colleagues. It was speculated that maybe it was the fact that these humans seemed to enter into these interactions already innately treating the animal as an equal in the relationship, and that trust was acknowledged and reciprocated in turn. Showing such trust or even deference, especially to some of the more dangerous species of animals, wasn't something many other races could do either, because of the difference in natures of the prey races or the inability or refusal of predator races to show vulnerability. They also remembered, of course. Doctors remembered their patients, even if they need their memories jogged by a name or seeing their face. But these vets remembered so much more. The little details that didn't matter to a diagnosis or treatment plan, but meant everything to the animal and their owner. They treated them as friends and family, asking about things mentioned in passing, noting mannerisms or favorite toys and foods of their patients. And they spoke to them. They heaped on praise and compliments when they were informed by their owners of positive actions and progress. They even gave them little lectures and talking tos when they did something wrong, very often followed by a playful little boop on the nose. And in return, they were remembered. These creatures, who might only see a vet a handful of times throughout the years, expressed joy in their own unique ways, seeing their doctors, their friends, each time they came for a visit. But there are always two sides to every coin. In exchange for sharing all the joys and triumphs of so many creatures, they also shared their pain. Doctors in the same practices could testify to seeing their human colleagues experience physical distress when one of their patients wasn't doing well or something had gone wrong. Something they were all too aware would happen when they formed these connections. And yet, they still did. They willingly formed these pact bonds and shared the burden, providing comfort and almost seeming to try to take on a portion of the suffering, to provide even the slightest relief. And sometimes, it even worked. The trust and compassion of the humans allowing the animal to relax despite its pain, letting their body repair itself without interference. And sometimes, it didn't. Sometimes, there was nothing to be done, no way to stop the inevitable. But they fought it every step of the way, even when surgery wouldn't help or medication was ineffective, and everyone knew what the future held. They fought the oncoming despair with every ounce of love in their hearts. They made sure that a creature knew that it was cared for, sitting for hours with them until the end, opening soft-spoken comforts and gentle touch. And it destroyed them. Every single time. Every loss was personally devastating, as if a portion of their very souls had been forcibly ripped away, leaving a raw, gaping pain behind. Yet they forged on. They absorbed this agony, letting themselves mourn and break down in their own time, but not when there was more work to be done. And it was in this way that the pact bond healed as much as it hurt. They found comfort and joy in those bonds that were still there, and used them to knit themselves back together. They fought on, so the next patient wouldn't suffer a similar fate, so they could continue to share their joy in life. They fought on for those that had lost and those that they could yet save. There was a popular saying amongst humans, and like many others, it was one of self-deprecation. We don't deserve our pets. But the rest of the galaxy disagreed. They were certain that if only one race deserved the love and comfort of an animal companion, it was the humans, especially the vets. End of story. Story number 2. A Matter of Numbers, written by Rosie013. Gentle beings, we are gathered here today to formally review the actions of the human federated systems in their territory conflict with the Elosa Mining Syndicate, specifically their breaking of Intergalactic Law number 94 PU239. I would like to state for the record that this is not a disciplinary tribunal, but rather an investigative review into whether a disciplinary tribunal is required. The speaker gave the room a moment to digest this information, and to gauge the response to his words. Unlike most conflict negotiations, almost every species in the intergalactic community had a representative in attendance. The Human Federated Systems, or the HFS, kept to themselves for the most part since joining the many hundreds of spacefaring sapiens, and more than a few were curious as to how they had gotten themselves accused of such a serious war crime. Most representatives were paying attention, and the murmurs were dying down. The accusers are the Elosa Mining Syndicate themselves, represented by lawyer Timnat Ropney Bless. The defenders of the Humans Federated Systems, represented by General Leroy. Accusers have the floor to state their case. Slowly and gracefully, the lanky, softly green being in a sharply starched business suit rose to the podium assigned to them. Thank you, Speaker. High and honored representatives. 197 days ago, the EMS laid claim to an asteroid number Tnatropmi Bless started scrutinizing his datapad, obviously playing up his efforts to be precise in his recounting. Pluto! The abrupt interruption had come from the HFS delegate. Speaker was about to interject and demand the representative stay silent, but nothing followed this outburst. Yes, the asteroid named Pluto by the local population of the nearest inhabited homeworld, stated Tnatropmi Bless, with clear disdain at the interruption to his performance. The asteroid was settled in preparation for mining operations to commence as per our standard planet. Again the HFS delegate interrupted, and was now on his feet. Pluto is a dwarf planet, but still a planet. The crowd was murmuring again. This was the least respectful and most entertaining mediation in some time. The humans were clearly poor diplomat, interesting and useful information to know for the future. Speaker interjected. The HFS delegate will get the opportunity to make any counterclaims after the recording of the EMS's accusations. Are we clear? The general was not. Then stop filibustering. We don't even know what the law number 94 PU239 is. The audience was outraged at this. How could a backwater, no-name, one-species empire not even know the basic rules of war? It was unthinkable. It was practically an admittance of guilt to many of the representatives present. Smelling blood in the water, the EMS delegate signaled they wished to speak. Speaker, perhaps my opposite number has a point. I'll go straight to our accusations. The Human Federated Systems have deployed an illegal 250 megaton nuclear device in our conflict zone. Pure uproar. 250! That was a ridiculous 5 times the legal maximum allowed in a single strategic device. The amount of effort going into the assembling such a colossal device alone was borderline madness. Representative Tenatropme Fless, followed up by images of his datapad, showing a crater and distinctly empty planetoid. If it wasn't a dwarf planet before the bomb, there was barely enough of it left to qualify now. Speaker was about to restore order when the human general interrupted us again. Nonsense! We don't even have any nukes that big. Why, the cost alone would stop us. The pandemonium calmed somewhat. More than a few individuals in the crowd unsuccessfully trying to hide their relief as the logic prevailed, as if some insignificant species could stockpile that much fissile material. But General Leroy wasn't done yet. We simply fired off 250 single megaton bombs. End of story. I would quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and Patreons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Dragzoon WRE, Holly's Sister, Arcadian. Thank you very much.